Hello, and welcome to the Thomas G. Carpenter Library's website. Today we're going to focus in on using a database or discovery tool called OneSearch. Some of you may have used it before, but this is a refresher for those of you who might need some extra reminders. The first thing you want to remember after going to the library homepage, which is www.unf.edu/library, is going to the top of the screen if you're off campus, scroll over the library and go to My Accounts Remote Access. You're going to click on Login, enter your N number and UNF password, and then click Login again. And then you'll be brought back into the database. This is important to remember because if you don't do this step, you're not going to get full access to library materials from the UNF library website. OneSearch is easy to find. It's located in the center of the screen under Welcome to the Library. And you'll notice it finds articles, books, and other library materials, including scholarly journals. So we're going to do a search to start off. Let's put in student success. And I just want to start really general. So we're going to just click OneSearch or hit enter. What this is going to do is give you a population of resources for your topic, right? So we're going to scroll down. You'll notice that you get different types of resources. So here's a publication that's called Student Success. Here's an ebook. If we scroll down, pay attention to the left side when you're limiting to figure out what type of resource you're actually using. If I'm going to look at this article, strengths-based analysis on student success in online courses. Student success is bolded because these terms are the ones we entered as keyword searches, just like you would in Google. To find out what this article is about, a quick way to do it is going to the right side and scrolling over this little magnifying glass. This will give you the general bibliographic record, right? So we have the general subject headings, but if we scroll down some, we get the abstract of the article. Whether it's an ebook, an article, a peer-reviewed journal article, it's important to look at the abstract. This will give you a better idea if this resource is useful to you. Sometimes you'll find an article or an ebook that the title looks great, but in actuality, the resource isn't as useful as you might have thought. Another thing you can do is click on the title of the resource to get into the general record and get that abstract. If we go back to that previous screen, let's talk a little bit more about this homepage. The next thing we can focus in on is narrowing your search, because right now, if you look at this top number, we have 5 million resources on student success. Many of you have used what's called a Boolean operator, using the words and or not, to narrow or expand your result list. So if we put in student success in higher education, again, we're just using your own words, just like you would in Google. This is just a keyword search. The result list should be narrowed down because we're using that word and to bring the two concepts together. We're down to 1 million, right? So it's a lot better in some respects, but it's still too many to go through. So let's scroll down here and start limiting even more, shall we? So the first thing we do is we'll limit to full text. Let's say you only have time to find resources that you can get right away. So we're going to click that. So now we're down to 1,700,000. And many of you are going to come across times when you need peer-reviewed journal articles. Peer-reviewed meaning it's a more authoritative or scholarly article. So we'll go ahead and click that off. And also, one thing that many professors talk about is publication date, right? So if we scroll down some more, let's say your professor says you're only allowed to use resources within the last 5 years. So I'm going to put in 2015 to 2020. And now we're down to 240,000 resources. As we scroll through, you'll notice the topics start getting a little bit more specific, right? We're seeing GPA, we're seeing student success. You're now seeing higher education. Many of you will also pay attention as you scroll lower to the source type option. Source type is where you're looking at the type of resource it's coming from. So if you only can use academic journals, if we limit that, we're down to 231,000, which is still a lot, correct? You can go back to the top and put in student success, higher education, and retention. I'm just trying to narrow that result list even more. We're down to 40,000. So we are getting narrower and narrower. And we can remember to go back to that source type and limit to academic journal articles. Again, you'll notice the resources that are showing up. There's some images to see if it's a peer-reviewed journal article where there's a study, and you'll want to look at the resources in a few different ways. The general way that you'll want to receive an article is a PDF full text of that article. So there's a few things that you can do now with this PDF. One way is to print it up or save it into your flash drive, right? Another way, on the right side of the screen here, if you can see all the way over here, there's something. There's a few icons I want to point out. So the one, if you see my mouse, there's a little envelope. If you put your email address in here, you can get the article emailed to you directly, and it'll email you the PDF. Another option is this permalink. Does everyone see this on the right side? There's a little chain here. If I click on that chain, this permalink will take you directly back. I'm going to bring up another browser real quick just to demonstrate. That will take you back to that article that you were just in, and you'll just click on that PDF and you're into the article itself. This is really important to remember, that if you're not good at having a flash drive, or you want to just do searches real quick, you can go into an email account, click this cite button on the right, get your general citation, which are not always correct, so don't just make sure you're reviewing them before you turn them into your professor. What I would do is click on the citation and then highlight it and use that permalink underneath to get you back to that article. Going back to the OneSearch tool, we're going to go back to that result list. The other thing you can do on the sidebar is looking at the subject headings. These are librarians' controlled vocabulary. That's what they edit them with to basically tag them to a certain topic. So if I want to look at college students or universities and colleges, if I click on that subject heading, then it will add it back to the search, and now you only have 1,000 resources to look through. If you are working with a librarian or a student, or you have questions about your search, or maybe you want to share it with a classmate, on the right side of the screen here, you can click on share and then scroll down. There's a permalink here as well. This permalink you can save and give to a classmate or me, a librarian, or your professor, to show them what type of research questions you have. But you'll see here, as you go through, professional staff contributions, student retention, success in higher education, and it is coming from 2018. So this is a brand new article. This is also another good example. We talked about PDFs of the article. Sometimes you'll find this full text finder option, and you'll click there and see if the article is available to you. And this is the article page, and there's the PDF of this article. So some other things to remember with this database is that as you go through the database, if you want to get rid of some limiters or change them, you're well able to. So we can click off academic journals on the left here. All you have to do is check off those boxes and get rid of them from the left side, and your search will start going back to what it was before. And that way, if you want to check out a subject heading there, you can always go back and add a different one to get different results. You can always look at databases. If you want to look in a specific database for a search, that's also available to you. Just like those other limiters, you just check off that box, and those article lists will change because you're not just searching all of the databases that the OneSearch tool uses, but only that one, in this case, education source. And remember, this all changes back accordingly. The other thing to remember is, if you like searching in this capacity, right, in this a lot of terms on one bar, that's fine. Many of you may also like searching a different way, which is, we're going to click back on the right side here. There's this UNF library button, and then we're going to scroll back to the search bar. If you like advanced searching right away, this is new this year. We can click on the advanced search option, and you can actually build down, right? So we can put in student success, and then the next line we'll put in higher education. And this just makes it a little bit more clear for me when I'm searching right off from the bat. and then we can put it retention, and you can mimic the same source, search, and you'll get the same resources, but it makes it a little bit more clearer when you're doing your searches. One last tip is this. If you have a term that you're using as a keyword, but you want to try and see if there's other articles that may deal with the same topic, we talked about those subject headings here on the left side, right? Where the library catalogs those words. Sometimes you can guess what they're going to be. So if we go ahead and change this selected field, which is your keyword search, to a subject terms and click search, the resources that you will get will be different and more focused on looking at higher education. If you have any questions while you're using OneSearch, don't forget on the right side here, there's this chat online button. If we click on the chat online button, we can actually chat with the librarian right away. You put in your name, it does not anonymously, and you can chat with the librarian that's working during hours that the library is open. Don't forget, whenever you're using OneSearch, if you want to get back to the initial screen, to click that UNF tab at the top, and it takes you back to the list of databases and research tools. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the librarians. If you need some extra additional help, if you scroll over students at the top of the library, you can click on research consultations and work with one of the instruction librarians, either online, in person, on the phone, or virtually. So this is a great tool that we have available to you as students. I thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.